Hey there, emerging expat. You're tuned in to Let's Move to Portugal. I'm Victoria from Expats Everywhere's podcast, and I have the distinct honor of bringing you, YouTube travelers, and our resident of Portugal experts, Expats Everywhere's Josh and Kaylee. Each week they'll inspire, they'll educate, and they'll accompany you on your journey to Portuguese residency. This week on Let's Move to Portugal, Jade Navega shares her journey of moving to Portugal in 2018. She also emphasizes the opportunities for entrepreneurship and uncovers the most dynamic and hidden side of Porto. To keep this podcast going strong, we've included a few brief ads. Thanks for supporting us by listening.
We're very happy that Savvy Cat Realty wanted to support us and sponsor the podcast, as we're actually clients of theirs.
When we started our journey to purchase our property in Portugal back in 2022, they came right alongside us in the process.
Savvy Cat Realty provides a highly tailored service to supporting those relocating to Portugal. Their mission is to find you the best match in continental Portugal. Their local experts will guide you through the whole process, keeping sustainability for both sides.
They have a full local team, including agents, lawyers, and engineers, making sure you are safe. And as locals, they believe fair prices are good for both sides.
And Savvy Cat Realty works with both rentals and purchases with budgets from $50K to millions, always making sure it's worth the cost.
Book a free call at savvycatrealty.com and have them on your side planning your move to Portugal.
Hey, expats and travelers, welcome back to Expats Everywhere Presents Let's Move to Portugal podcast. Kaylee, how you doing?
I'm doing well. A little tired. How are you?
I feel you. Well, we had to wake up early to get our daughter to to school, but she has like a morning activity. So that was fun. It was brisk this morning. Yeah,
it's cooled down a little bit. I think maybe it was that rain. We had a lot of rain on Halloween, which I think changed a lot of people's plans.
Yes.
But then it was, it's not raining now. It's kind of nice weather now, but yeah, cooler today.
It's insane that we're in a new month. I don't know, man. The days, the months, the weeks go by so quick. Months and weeks. I don't know why I just did in that order. But all that to say, we're pumped about this week's episode because we toured with Jade. We talked to Jade today, but we toured with her on her, I don't know what you would call it, like art walk kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. Art walk. It's interesting what she does.
Artistic walk.
Yeah, maybe because it's the art district in Porto, but it's not just about art the way you think like painting and such. It's also
hardly any of it was about actual like fine art.
Right. Yeah, fine art. I think there were shops that had art in it.
Yes.
But not solely for that.
I mean,
we might need to unpack this a little bit.
Well, I mean, basically anybody that likes the creative side of life and dynamic places to live, like dynamic energy, this episode's for you, and Jade's tour is for you. We just had a ball.
It's really cool though, like even if you're visiting Porto or a different city, to not just do like the tourist walks. Maybe if you've done, if you've been here before and you've done that already, then it's something to do on like your second or third trip or once you move here.
Yep.
But it's nice to see the non-touristy parts of a city.
Yeah. And like we dive into ethical tourism also in the chat today, but let's talk a little bit about, how the week's been, kind of what some of the migration changes have occurred, and then we'll slide into the actual episode. That's for those of you that are unfamiliar with the format.
Yes. So I guess, of course, we'll start with immigration because that's the hot topic right now. We're getting closer and closer, I think, to something happening.
Something finalized.
Yes. Parliament has voted and they've sent a bill to the president. So right now, as we're recording this, the president has this bill and he can decide what he wants to do, if he's going to send it to the Constitutional Court, if he's going to sign off on it, or he can send it back to Parliament. So he needs to go through the bill and see if everything looks good. And according to a lot of lawyers and resources, they don't think that he will sign off on it because of some things that are in there that not necessarily are unconstitutional, but that he can also disagree or veto stuff. So that is the feeling, but who knows? So we wait to see, but nothing has, especially with the citizenship thing, nothing from that bill has officially been passed into law yet.
Do you know what he disagrees with? Like, did the lawyers say like these are the things that are problematic?
Not specific, but I have read and talked to a lawyer how he is a little.
You've read a lawyer?
Well, I've read and talked to a lawyer that he's a little more liberal when it comes to immigration. So he might find some stuff in there that he disagrees with. And as the president, he is allowed to veto that stuff.
Okay.
So he's always been a little more liberal on the immigration side of things.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he could decide he doesn't like something, or he wants something rewritten, or he wants something altered. But yeah, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. We just finished shooting a video, and we're going to have it ready for Saturday. That really is about kind of this topic, because, you know, we've seen a lot of stuff come out in the past, let's say 2 weeks, about this immigration reform. And a lot of it is centered around the changing of the citizenship by naturalization requirement. Mainly, the main problem I've heard people having online is more has to do with the number of years and whether or not they're grandfathering people in and when they're going to grandfather people. Less so about the potential change of the language requirement from A2, which is admittedly quite low, to potentially B1, maybe B2. I've actually only heard of B1 as being the next level up. And then also having some sort of like civics tests, civics and culture tests.
Yeah.
These are things that are not uncommon to becoming a citizen of a country. So like, one of the unique selling points, if you will, if we're going to count Portugal as a brand, and I think very much countries have certain immigration policies to compete on kind of the global market to attract people to their country, whether these are like low wage workers or entrepreneurs that are going to like bring new jobs in. They're competing for the like global workforce,
for the people,
right? Yeah. They're competing for people, and therefore kind of they pull different levers on how they can attract people. And some of these levers are stuff like, how long does it take for you to get citizenship? What are the requirements being? What are the language requirements? Are they easy or difficult? Do you have a civics test? Yes or no? So like, these things that are happening are just all front and center right now in the discourse that's happening in Portuguese politics.
Yeah.
Fascinating time to be here. Frustrating time to be here as well, because it's like every year in October, there seems to be a change. And this is basically like the video that I put together.
Yeah, that's going out this Saturday on the main channel. But also, this bill is not just about the citizenship by naturalization. It does cover other things, some of the retroactive dates and such. So there is more to it. And then also, that's really hot topic is, how is IMA doing with everything? Because that's been kind of rough. Yes. It seems like they're getting a little better. Like, I would say that the new like portal that they've made online is is working a little better than it was when it first rolled out.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was talking to a friend just yesterday, I think it was. I'm getting my days confused, but just yesterday, about how all the people that were looking for appointments for the golden visa applications should have those now. Like, so those people now have clarity, and the government basically came out and said, yeah, we were holding those applications back, meaning that we weren't prioritizing the golden visa applications. We were prioritizing everybody else in front of them, which that divided public opinion online, because some people are like, whoa, these people are like paying way more money for their application fee compared to like what are a D7 or D8 or D6 or D2, whatever you were. But the golden visa is paying like 10, maybe 20x what everyone else is. However, those people are people that they're not as maybe, no, I don't want to say fussed, but they're not as concerned about being here right now and having residency right now. Most of them, some of them,
some want to,
and then that's the complicated. That's the really complicated things. Like, some people have been waiting 2 years who actually want to move and potentially become tax residents or whatever. They don't just want to fulfill the 1 week per year state requirement that comes with the golden visa. But
then IMA did come out and say that they were then shifting and trying to work through the backlog of the golden visa. So I think that they're kind of catching up on that. I mean, the kind of big joke is that IMA said that they were planning on working through the backlog and they would be done by the end of the year. And while I do think we're seeing progress, I don't think it's such a big backlog. I just don't think that that's going to happen by the end of the year. But hopefully they're working hard and implementing certain things to where it seems like it's gotten better and it won't take too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, manpower has to shift.
Yeah.
For sure. Like there has to be more manpower to get these things done. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big stuff that's been happening. So in this episode today, we talked to a British lady named Jade who married a Portuguese guy. They moved to Portugal in 2018. And basically she discusses the challenges of adapting to a new culture, making friends. I mean, navigating the whole immigration process, but even though like she's got a bit of help because she's got a Portuguese husband, it's not what it seems. I mean, she's still having to do these things as a foreigner in a foreign country.
Yep. All right, let's get to it.
Ready to get to it?
Let's go.
Let's do it. We know that relocating can be stressful. Trust us, Portugal is the 5th country we've relocated to.
So it's nice to have someone helping you out, which is why we can confidently recommend Global International Relocation, which is a leading provider of relocation, moving, and mobility services.
They can support individuals, families, and even businesses when it comes to moving internationally.
I like how they're able to simplify the relocation process, and they help with everything you can think of, and actually even those things that you don't think of.
Of course, you have the immigration side of things, but there are aspects like pet relocation, shipping your car, moving household goods, and settling in that are all things they assist with. They're really comprehensive when it comes to mobility.
With over 17 years of experience and having expertise in over 180 countries, they aren't just for your move to Portugal.
So for personalized assistance, visit global.pt or get in touch with us for an introduction and to receive a personalized relocation quote. One of the most important pre-move things to consider involves your finances. Here's the cool thing. If you've moved already, it's not too late.
Yeah, that's right, because we met John a little late in our journey, but he certainly helped us make sure that we're on the right track.
John McNerney from Green Ocean Advisors is an American living in Lisbon with an office in San Francisco, which helps him have a pulse on both sides of the pond. John helps people understand where they're at before they take the plunge and move abroad.
As a financial advisor, John can help you understand your financial position no matter what stage of life you're in, whether you're curious about what your realistic retirement date is or how to invest your money post-retirement.
His love for finance and the differences between US and Europe have given him the ability to guide his clients in the right direction when it comes to investing and allocating funds. For example, you might want to sell your house before you become a tax resident here in Portugal, so you're not paying additional taxes here.
Josh and I have even talked to him on several occasions about some major life events that have happened to us and how to navigate them smartly from a financial perspective. If you'd like to be put in touch with John from Green Ocean Global, click on his Calendly link below to schedule a free consultation that he provides our viewers to see if he's the right fit for you.
Just make sure that you choose the Expats Everywhere intro call for your free consultation. Well, Jade Navega, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode. I'm looking forward to diving in and talking all things Portugal. As you've been here since 2018, you made your way from the UK. How have you found it adapting to life here in Portugal?
Wow, it's a good question because going back to 2018, I do remember it was quite challenging. I moved here with my partner, who's now my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time, and he worked away. So I was very isolated. I was very alone when I first moved here, which was the challenging part, trying to make a whole new friendship group, having to put yourself out there, learn Portuguese, learn a whole new culture and adapt. I had to adapt, quite quickly. And yeah, looking back, it was incredible. Like I knew I really had found my place. It was such an enjoyable experience immersing myself into this, but it definitely was challenging at times as well.
Nice. Well, 2018 was definitely pre-Brexit. The real Brexit break didn't happen, I don't think, until 2021 is maybe when British people had to start going through the same immigration process as Americans and Canadians and other listeners that are listening to the podcast. So we're going to kind of skip that bit, which we normally have on this show, because it was quite easy for you to come over and just register, correct?
Yeah, it was so easy. It was so smooth. I never struggled at all. It also helped that my husband's father works for the municipality. So it was kind of very much taken care of very quickly for me. And Yeah, my my mum actually did apply, I think, after Brexit. So
Okay.
she now has a property here. So she kind of went through a different process, but I still think the process was fairly straightforward in comparison to Americans and Canadians. I think it's still a little bit more straightforward for the British.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. So you got those rubber stamps pretty easily
Yeah.
through your husband's dad. That's nice. That's really nice. Okay. So when you moved in 2018, I'm really curious about this because I feel like when Kaylee and I got here in 2020, there weren't many Americans, and many people, when we spoke to them, because we spoke in English, they just assumed that we were British.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so at the time that you moved, did you know any other Americans, or did you mainly start interacting at least with other foreigners, British people?
Yeah, the first friends I made were British or Europeans, so
Mm,
German. There weren't many Americans here. I'm trying to like scratch my mind to think, did I have any American friends when I first moved over? I really don't think I did. I think the first
mm.
American friends I made was around 2021.
Okay.
So that's quite a huge gap. And that's very interesting now to reflect on because the city has changed a lot since I've been here,
Yeah.
and that's one of the changes that's happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about that. So, what are these changes that you've seen? Because I think you might be the guest that has the most experience living here, like
Hmm.
compared to others. Because usually we interview people that have been here anywhere between like 6 months and 3 years.
Yeah.
We don't normally have veterans of 5+ years. So, what are some changes that you've seen that you can think of off the top of the head?
Yeah, well, I even used to travel into Porto quite frequently, even before that. So I knew Porto even before 2018. I worked as a tour guide all across Europe, and Porto was like my most favorite destination that I would come into. Like, I had
Yeah.
1 hour, I dropped guests off at the hotel, and I had 1 hour to get like an ice cream or a snack, and I would sit by the river and like, one day I'm going to live here. And we had to then head to Lisbon because that was like the main overnight stay. And yeah, so I can kind of relate to even further back. And the city was really just starting to build itself.
Mm,
I can reflect on sort of the tourism industry. It was a place that was quite unknown. Tourists would come in here like really curious, not knowing what to expect because there wasn't as much information online as what there is today on things to do, places to eat, where to shop. So it was obviously less busy, less crowded. We used to drop guests off at the Ribeira, and it was very comfortable to be down there. I think I've spoken to Portuguese friends who said actually this area used to be quite dangerous.
hmm
So I probably just got to the point where it started to change, and because I felt very safe being down there, it was catered for tourism, not like it is today, but it was starting to get that way. And yeah, and then when I moved here, it wasn't as easy to make friends as what it is now because we didn't have all of these. I think also post pandemic, we have a lot of meetups, a lot of connection building workshops. Like there's a lot of in person events. And
Yes.
that wasn't really a thing when I first moved here. The only way that I could meet friends was through my Portuguese class.
Mm,
And I made it my mission not to have Portuguese class online, but to actually go to class to force myself to meet people.
mm.
And dance classes, like I had to sign up for a dance class so that I could meet other people. And yeah, now there's an abundance of different meetups and subjects. Like you can meet people from your industry, from your passions. So the city is totally catered for bringing new people in now. Um, and I mean, I see a lot of pros and cons, and I think this is a big conversation on people's lips, especially the younger generation right now who are struggling because rent has risen a lot. Imagine some good friends of mine, they bought a property when they first moved here, which was around 2017 as well, around the same time that I moved here. Beautiful 3-story building with tiles on the facade. And I believe they bought it for around 180,000. They valued it quite recently and it's gone up to 1 million. So uh, the prices increased dramatically. So this, obviously causes some tension between the locals, and it makes it very unaffordable for them to live here. But it also has brought a lot of greatness. So we had so many abandoned buildings. Like I would walk down, for instance, Rua da Armada. It was abandoned. There was like nothing down this street. Everything was broken, and now you see it. There's like amazing natural wine bars down this street, and it's suddenly becoming really buzzing. And I mean, this was a street I would go down feeling maybe a little bit unsafe because it was so isolated. And now it's like one of the streets to go and have a glass of wine. So
yes,
the interior of the city has changed a lot. And I think there is a lot of that is for the good.
yeah. I mean, decades and decades ago, Almada in its pomp, according to our Portuense friends, they said it was one of the key streets of the city. And then, over a period of time, it just fell out of favor or something. And then the interior of the buildings started to really deteriorate. Then some of the buildings, the exterior started to deteriorate. But yeah, I mean, when we moved here, we saw there was kind of this big renovation that was happening on that specific street, which is just off of Praça Liberdade, Avenida Aliados, for those that can get Google Earth out and check out where we're talking about. Yeah. Okay. So tourism wise though, and talking about the danger aspect of things, what were some of the things that happened, at least from what you were told back then? What was the danger, I guess?
The danger, I guess.
Pickpocket?
Danger.
For
danger of
tourists?
being robbed.
Yeah.
I think that was it. But to be honest, I never experienced that. I mean, there was talk about it. But even with all of my customers, I used to bring up to 50 people on a regular basis into Porto on these big coaches, and I never received any problems from them. I think the scarcity was there, but the Portuguese people are so kind, accommodating, and even families from more of the lower poverty, they are so family orientated, and I never felt threatened, or I actually feel I feel more unsafe now than I did when I first moved here.
Okay, why?
The city has changed a lot. It's a good, I think there's a few reasons why. One of the reasons is I became a mum, and I think naturally becoming a mum, you are more aware of risks, and you become, I don't know, a little bit scared of life in general. It builds up a confidence, but yeah, you suddenly see the risks everywhere. And yeah, it's really hard to answer that question, because it's just the city has increased its popularity. There are, I guess, I feel like it's because it's increased its popularity, it's increased in its pricing, it's increased in the types of people who want to travel here. Perhaps they have more, disposable income. It's also then attracted itself towards people who come to take advantage of that, to pickpocket, to rob. I feel like it does then attract those types of things that start to happen. So I feel like that was, for me to be robbed, was less likely to happen when I first moved here compared to now.
It's interesting you say that, because from the stories, the anecdotal stories that we've been told, and also seeing things that get posted online about kind of the more dangerous spots, they seem to be on the periphery of the city center versus being next to Bulhão or down in Ribeira. We don't often hear of any issues in those areas. So it seems like the people that are getting stolen from are residents versus the tourists.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, do you feel that way or no?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's why I'm talking from a personal note, because I live in Marquês. I think we both do, actually, around Marquês area.
We can go around there, but yeah.
Yeah. And this area for me has started to feel a bit unsafe, but it's only a
Okay.
15-minute walk into Porto city center.
Yeah.
So I
Because
still
it's not a
consider it-
tourist zone.
No,
I mean,
it's not. No,
Many
you
people
wouldn't-
want to live there, I think, because it's just outside of like the tourist traffic that one would get, living 2 metro stops down from Marrakesh. So like for those that are getting their metro map out, you have Marrakesh, then you have Faria Guimarães, and then you have, I guess, Trindade, right?
Trinidad, yeah.
So, which is like the station where all the lines intersect. And that's where most tourists come into. There's a direct line to the airport. So a lot of tourists will come in straight from the airport. Boom, they're in Trindade. And then they kind of go south from there.
Yeah, not north.
Not north,
I
which is
live.
where Marrakesh is. Yeah, exactly. Why did you choose that area to live?
Well, it was kind of I say a blessing in disguise. So during the pandemic, we used to live in Gaia, which is across the river, close to the beach in Madalena. I really enjoyed living here because you're super close to some incredible beaches that are not touristic at all. And the reason why we left Madalena was because of the pandemic. So myself and my husband both worked in tourism. And of course, tourism was just on its flipped upside down during the pandemic. So we had our savings, and our savings were just being spent on rent every month. And we were like, we're not making any money here. Like, we have a timeline. Like, what are we going to do? And so we decided to move in with our in-laws in Amarant, which is a beautiful, really beautiful place. It's, it seemed like, we've got to give up our apartment and move in with the in-laws, but it was such a pleasant experience being in the countryside during this period of what was happening in the world. And then we were there for about 4 months, and my husband had got a job in kind of transports in the city, and we just had to find somewhere as soon as possible. And my friend was like, hey, I know someone who's opening up an apartment. Do you want to go and check it out? And so we went to check it out. It was in Marrakech, and it turns out my husband's company, like, this is the place to be. Like, it was a perfect location. It ticked all the boxes. We're like, okay, let's move. We just didn't look anywhere else, and I'm really grateful for it. Although, I've said that it does feel a little bit unsafe, I do love this area to live because for families, we have Quinta do Covello. It's the best for me, the best park in Porto for children. It's so beautiful. And we have Brits, which is a sourdough bakery, and they now just opened up a cafe. So this didn't exist when I first lived here. So we have a good bakery now, which I think that's also a big.
What's the name of it again?
Brits bread.
Brits.
For sure, you've been there.
No, I haven't seen it. What street's it on?
Gosh. It's on Rua de Santa Feita. No.
Okay.
No, not Rua de Santa Feita.
No, Santa Feita wouldn't be in Marrakesh.
Yeah,
Constituição.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe I've walked by it. Is it like it has like a big glass window, and I guess the type font is fancy?
Yeah, it's kind of
nice
cool,
looking. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I've walked by it. I haven't clocked the name of the place, but I've walked by there.
It's the most popular spot in Marrakesh, I would say. Because, and I mean, this is one conversation I think is interesting to have, because I put a post out on Instagram about specialty coffee rising in Porto.
Yes.
And I included
We're fans.
Yeah,
okay.
Me too. I mean, I don't even drink caffeine, but I just love the culture, the scene, the vibe. Yeah, I love the vibe. I love going for decaf if they have it, but mostly they don't.
Yeah, I know.
So a tea. But I got so much hate on this reel because of like gentrification and it not being an authentic Portuguese coffee shop. And I get both. Yeah. So do you want to dive into this? Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the really funny thing, because Kaylee and I, we're big into specialty coffee. For the listener, Kaylee and I, in a former life, we used to we invested in a specialty coffee import-export business that was based out of Istanbul, but then we operated a distribution arm in Singapore. COVID smashed that, but again, it was a different life.
Cool.
So So Kaylee and I, like, we've gotten to know quite a few of the people in the specialty coffee scene in Portugal at large, but definitely in Porto. Most of them are Portuguese.
I know.
So it's like these are Portuguese owners. These are Portuguese people that are seeing, they're younger, right? But they're seeing kind of a different way. And it's not a slap in the face of the traditional way. It's just different. That's all it is.
It's just a different market.
It's a different market. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a market. There's still definitely a need for the traditional places. I mean, we love popping into the traditional places as well. And we also go out of our way to hit up some of these specialty coffee places.
Yeah.
Because the vibe, because now we have relationships, obviously, with the people that work there. So that's also changed. Go on. Yeah. Tell us what you think.
Well, I was
haters
going to
hate.
Exactly. But I think there's so much beauty in the craft that they have. They have so much consideration and care. Yeah, it's artisanal for the supply chain. And it's just like we say, it's just a different market. I also enjoy going to traditional Tascas and having an espresso shot. And then sometimes, if maybe I want to work from my laptop and do a bit of work, I want to go somewhere that has that kind of cool vibe. And I almost don't see this as gentrification because, in some ways, yes, of course it is. Yes, it is. Okay, let me take that back because all the haters are going to hate. But it's the Portuguese people evolving with the times.
That's
so we change. The city is not what it was when I first moved here. It's not what it was 6 months ago. If you don't move forward, you get left behind. And it's super important that we uphold tradition and keep hold of tradition whilst also embracing the new. And I do think Porto is doing that very well. We have, the Portuguese people are just, that's who they are. They are strong in their tradition, in their values, in their family, but they're so innovative. They were the navigators of the world. So they are naturally the people who seek the new. And if you suppress that, then it's like Porto's seen so much growth, so much change, so much evolution. And if you suppress that, it's like you'll get left behind. And it's crazy because when I first moved to Portugal, my family and friends didn't know much of Portugal other than the Algarve, because that's where you go where you retire. They didn't know anything else. They had no clue what Porto was. It wasn't on the map then. And I can't remember what I was saying now, what my point was. It's my friends were saying they thought it's like a third world country over there, and I'm like, no, it's not. They had no idea what it was. They had no clue. And I just found that also super interesting. And I think they've made so much progression in putting themselves out there in the world and on the map that, of course, that's going to bring new change to the city. And rather than suppress it and stop it and complain about it, I feel like we need to embrace it and also ensure that tradition is stayed as well.
Yeah. I think that will, just because that's who they are. You know what I mean? As a society, as a culture, these are values that they have, which I don't see changing. I'm curious to know, and I would bank on that you've had conversations with your husband about this, but how does your husband see kind of the evolution of the times here in Porto? Is he as excited as you are, or is he more scared, or Yeah,
I would say he's excited. He's very proud of his country and he's proud of his people. And I think that feeds his pride when people love being here. They want to move here. He sees it as a compliment. And I think a lot of Portuguese people do, especially the older generation, from what I've experienced. They're so welcoming. They're so pleasant and they're just so proud. The smile they have on their faces when they talk about their country and knowing that a foreigner is interested and they love it here. They're so happy to share it. And the only sort of negative part I feel is the younger generation who are getting frustrated at how they can't afford to be in the city. And that's understandable.
Interesting. I just had a conversation last weekend with a guy actually at a coffee event. a Portuguese-owned specialty coffee place. So roasters celebrated their second year anniversary of the actual roastery, the new roastery, I should say. So I was talking to a guy. You probably believe that his name is Jose, and Jose was telling me that he lived in the city center, and he's like, I got some of the best advice I've ever received from my dad, who several years back told me, you need to buy this apartment, son. And I was like, how much did you get it for? And he was like, I bought it for 40,000. And he said, now the value of it's around $500,000. He's
Oh
like,
my
so
God.
he's like, I'm fine. This guy must have been, Jose, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I get your age wrong. He must have been anywhere between like 28 and 32, let's say. So he's not young, but he's relatively young. And I think that he
So when
must
he
have
bought
bought
the
it.
apartment,
He must have
was,
bought it in his mid to early 20s, I think.
yeah.
He just threw all of his available cash at it. And he might have gotten help from his dad. I don't know. But there you go. Like, this guy's now, because he bought at the right time, he's living in the city center and enjoying life. So he doesn't feel the same pressures, I think, as others trying to now afford the city center. And then other Portuguese people we've talked to have talked about, or Porto people have talked about how, as Portuguese, they can't be that upset when, like you were saying earlier, half of the city's buildings in the downtown were abandoned.
Yeah.
And now investment money, foreign money, is coming and fix these places up. And maybe the city center was dangerous back then, and now it's nicer. But it took a lot of investment to get there, and nobody wanted to live in the city center. Now everybody's looking at the city center like that's the place to be. So it's tricky, right? It's really tricky. And there's no like way you can find an artificial balance. Like, it just kind of, the market does what it does, right?
Yeah, exactly. If there's interest, then of course there's interest. It's like it's going to go up. But I think there are ways that us being expats can help to try to balance out this imbalance for the locals.
What do you think? How so?
Well, I think that you need to be very conscious on where you spend your money. I always believe where you spend your money is where you vote. And for me, it's important to support local businesses. So, if you're having specialty coffee, make sure that that specialty coffee is by a Portuguese roaster, and you're supporting a Portuguese family or a Portuguese dream, rather than the main global chains. And we can make these decisions in our daily life that have a huge impact and allow the locals to continue on with their businesses, and be able to, afford the rents that are rising in the city.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's nice, sound advice. I mean, I don't think your story's too disconnected maybe from some of the difficulties that these students are having, or these recent graduates in their early to mid 20s. Because when you had that episode in Amarante where you had to move in with your in-laws, I mean, that's not too dissimilar to what young Portuguese people have to do. They have to stay, in the family much longer. You had 50 euros in your bank account, and then you ended up really with no job, no plan. You were able to break out of what a traditional Portuguese salary is and carve something out on your own. Like, I want to hear about that, because hopefully if we have some of these younger people listening, then they can become inspired by what you've done yourself, because you didn't find the success because you're a foreigner. You found it because you have something within you and you're creative. So tell us about that.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice way to put it. So when I first moved here in 2018, my background was tourism. I had also a big background in sales. And I knew that I wanted to create something in tourism, but I had no idea what that would be. So when I first moved here, I knew that I wouldn't work a traditional Portuguese job. One, I didn't speak the language. And two, the wages were, for me, it almost didn't seem worth it. Because, you know, in the UK, I was used to earning twice, 3 times that amount. And at this point, the rent was like, you know, things were very affordable in the city. So I went by without a wage for quite some time. I sort of made money here and there doing bits and bobs, but it was a lot easier back then to be able to do that and have that as an option, and, you know, to use a little bit of savings, not even a big amount of savings, just a small amount. And yeah, I knew that I just had to create something for myself if I was to survive here in this city. And that ended up me creating tours. I did tile tours. I did workshops. I did events. I did so many jack of all trades kind of thing, like just to survive. And then I kind of landed on a tour that I really loved and I seemed to be super interested in, but other people did too, which is the sustainable fashion tour. And that's now evolved into the Made in Porto tour. So it's not just fashion that's produced here, it's ceramics, jewelry, art. And yeah, when the pandemic happened, I had no tours. I had no source of income. My husband also worked in the tourism industry. He was working away. He was actually in Italy during the pandemic and managed to get out in time and get home. Yeah, it was quite scary.
Ground zero
and like
almost.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, like we were having no income and just paying rent. And my husband's company went bust like overnight. So we literally were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And yeah, when I moved into Amaranth, I had to pivot a lot and I had to get creative. And one thing I realized was a deep pain where the partners I would work for and showcase on the tour, they were also struggling because they had no online presence. They relied on the stores to sell their goods. And all of a sudden they were like, I can't keep up either. Yeah. And so I naturally just started consulting for them because I would open up their stories on the tour. Like I find out about their stories, I tell them on the tour, and that makes people interested in buying because they want to, you know, buy with purpose and with intention and know who they're supporting. And so I would help them figure out how to translate that online. And that opened up to me starting to consult and pivot until the tours could come back. And for any like young Portuguese people listening, I do think now is a great time to get creative and to be innovative and figure out, you know, what are the big pains in the country or even outside of the country that you could potentially solve. Because I now work in the startup ecosystem here, and Porto is also getting on the map in terms of startups. And now is the time, you know, I'll be that Jose's dad telling you now, don't buy a property. It's not the right time to be buying property, but now is the right time to get into the startup ecosystem here and see if that can really drive your success. If your startup isn't a success, you're going to learn so many new skills that you can then use for international companies and an international wage, or work for a Portuguese startup in so many different avenues. So that would be kind of my advice for young Portuguese people.
Why do you think that Portugal and Porto is on the rise? Like what's kind of fostered that?
I think the huge investment they had for tourism was one of the things they did. That was before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit, which put a pause on things. But then people who had planned to come to Porto because of they'd seen so much marketing and advertising about Porto, I think it got into like the Lonely Planet top 10 or something like this. So they were really pushing it out there. Then they still, that was kind of one of the reasons why we had this big boom in tourism. And now I think Lisbon started the kind of tech scene here. So we have Web Summit here, which brings, I think, 70,000 people from across the globe to this one startup tech event. And that naturally is now like filtering into Porto.
Because Porto's maybe slightly more affordable. Not slightly, because Porto's more affordable. So it's like the next place that people go to. And then after there's going to be a third city that will become part of this.
I wonder
right?
which one that would be. What do you think?
Braga. I
I was
think
going to say the same. Yeah, Braga.
I think there's something going on in Braga already. There's good infrastructure going in that will help it attract people. Although I don't know necessarily if the prices are that much better.
No.
The availability is not great for rents and stuff like that. It's tricky. So going back to what you said though about tourism here and how things were ramping up before COVID. So it sounds like all of this was by design, but was it a government initiative or was it more
Yeah.
like private investors?
I think it was a government initiative.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so. And then that
Yeah.
gained attraction from private investors.
So
But
then you've got
I don't know
both
that for
factors
sure.
coming
But
together.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, that's really curious because I think a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say a lot. Some people are upset with how much tourism happens in Porto. There are people that feel like it's caused an issue. Other people will blame it on immigration or what they might consider mass immigration. But some people just point to tourists or let's say over tourism of Porto and of Lisbon, causing the pressure on the prices because you'll see people that have invested in properties in key areas downtown and they've turned it into short-term rentals, and because the yields are better on short-term rentals versus long-term rentals, more people then will invest in that thing versus housing to help house people that want to live here. So it's really curious. It's really, really curious.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I rarely ever go downtown. I rarely ever go to the Ribeira. It's not a far walk. It's like 25-30 minute walk from where I live, but it's so crowded. And I did have to go there last week. I had an eye appointment and I had to go there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to have a walk around. And I went to a restaurant that I used to always go to. I would be there nearly every week eating at this place.
Yeah.
And they recently renovated it and made the interior, fancier. But I thought the main concept would keep. And that was like a buffet. It's a buffet where you can eat, super affordable. I think I used to pay like €7 for like all you can eat buffet. And now the buffet doesn't exist. And I was like, I was disappointed. Now it's like a la carte menu. And one item on the menu, like for one main dish, was €17. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I thought, yeah, you're now in the tourist area. And
what street is this on?
I can't remember the name of the street, but I can tell you the restaurant.
Sure.
De Terra.
Okay.
It's the vegan vegetarian restaurant.
It's a bit of a chain, right?
Yeah. Now it's become a chain, but that was like the first. That was the first one.
Porto was the first store.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. Like I remember, and then it grew and grew and grew. So that's when I first moved here. I believe that was the first one.
Yeah, because they're, I would say, like a health conscientious restaurant, right?
Yeah.
That's the way they kind of position themselves. De Terra. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know which store you're talking about either. I have no idea.
You know, Appel de Bouillon.
Yeah.
It's the kind of trinket shop near Mercado de Bouillon. And it's got the beautiful facade outside. And I used to go in there to buy like my loose nuts. And it was you felt like you were going back in time. Like you would go into this building and be like, wow, this is like how my mother-in-law or my partner's grandmother would be shopping. And and it felt like that. And I went in there 4 or 6 weeks ago, and it's now been like decorated purely for tourists. It's nowhere and it's like, it's heartbreaking because you think, oh, this was somewhere where I really felt like Porto, and now it just feels like an airport terminal.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the vibe that I got when I went inside. I
feel you.
Like, but there needs to be a level of acceptance. You know, I kind of mourned it for a bit, and then I thought, okay, like I have to accept this is what it is, and we just have to try to do our best to keep tradition alive. And they got a facelift, but hopefully they keep tradition alive, like in their shop in certain ways.
Yeah. Just because you get a facelift doesn't mean you lose your soul, right? I don't know what stage of grieving you're at, but acceptance is like it seems like it's towards the mid to back end of grieving. I'm curious to know, like, because you are in tourism, like, what's the right way to do tourism? Because you set up tours that are very different than what mass tourism is. So
I feel
us.
like, like I have to keep giving myself a reality shock because I live in my little bubble. I take my groups around the art district and I think this is amazing. This is how tourism should be. And I'm very proud of myself. And I'm really happy that we're supporting these local artists. And then, I go on walks like I did the other day to the main tourist center. And I'm like, wow, my bubble just bursts.
Yeah.
I just realized there's a bigger problem here. Like, we need to be speaking to the government to say, look, you need to be encouraging this cluster of people that just go into the main city center to tick off all the main sites. Like, encourage them to go out to these other neighborhoods where there is so much magic happening. And, the locals are also, getting pushed further and further away from the center and going more on the outskirts. Mm-hmm. But there's so much beauty, like at the art district, it's 10-15 minute walk away from the main city center, but yet so many people don't go there. So this is the area where I take guests and we go to like fashion stores, like concept stores. So the art district is Bombarda, and there were galleries that have been open there since the 90s. And I think it was 2008 that it became registered as the actual official art district, 2008, around that time. And it became kind of this domino effect around 2008 where more and more studios started to pop up. And I was having an interesting conversation with one of the shop owners who was like the OG. They came like 12, 13 years ago. They were the first store there. And now it's completely changed. But they're so excited about it because for them, it's like, it's now they have, this reopening of the art galleries, which just happened on Saturday. And all of the galleries and the stores, they close, they support local artists, they have exhibitions, and they all reopen at the same time and have a big party. And I think this is where we need to be bringing tourists. They don't know about this. They don't know this is happening. Like, why not? This is the heart and the soul of the place. It's where you can see the creatives work and how that influences like everything. And then you also have Bonfim, for example. Like when I first moved here, that was a bit rough around the edges. And now it's kind of this thriving, artsy neighborhood. And in extending areas like Foz. And I mean, people normally do already go to Foz or Matosinhos or even a bit further. Like, I think there's a lot of work to be done in tourism to encourage people to come out of the city center and more into the neighborhoods and more of a supporting of local businesses rather than big chains.
Right on. Yes. So what can someone expect if they take one of your tours? Because, I guess, spoiler alert for the audience listening, Kaylee and I, on our Patreon page, we've kind of stepped away from doing the big open meetups that we publish the dates on YouTube, and we've started to just do like more private meetups with our Patreon community. So if you're wanting to join that, we'll put a link in the description section so you can do that and take a look at what the benefits are of joining our Patreon community. But we do these patron events because the sizes are more manageable for us. Instead of finding venues for 100 people, it's more like 20 to 30, so we can have real community. But we put out that we were going to do an event with you, one of your walking tours, and in less than a couple hours, it filled up. And we're like, okay, we have to open up another date. And then in a couple more hours, the second date filled up, and we still have people asking, so we might have to do a third. But what can we? I know it's insane. What can we expect with one of your walking tours?
Well, I think this is a great sign. It also shows that, people are interested in supporting local artisans. They want to immerse themselves in these neighborhoods, get to know their local shop owners or the local makers. So I think this is such a good sign, and it really inspires me and the work that I do. So what you can expect is, well, you get to hang out with me or one of our tour guides for a few hours. Woo. And I'm just training a few tour guides at the moment, so they'll be ready to go and start taking their tours in a few months' time. And what really is the main benefit of this tour is community, like is to make a tourist or someone who has just moved here quite recently feel a part of a community and feel that we are bridging the gap between them and the makers and the creators, because the art district still is quite unknown to tourists and to people who just move here. So we take you to places that you might not find on your own. You know, we go through doors, we ring doorbells, and we take you into ateliers and studios that, it would be difficult for you to navigate solo. And it is a shopping experience. It's kind of you being able to browse, have time to try things on, but you really learn the process and the storytelling of each of the makers. So you can go away with products that feel good. You know, you feel good in having them in your home or giving them as a souvenir because you know the family that you are supporting. So we bridge this gap for you and allow you to kind of get to know the neighborhood in a different way.
Nice. I got a couple technical questions.
Yep.
First one is, how long are your tours, more or less?
2.5 hours.
Okay. And what's the like standard rate for the tour fee?
€35. Yeah.
Okay.
So
minimum
it's been
2
this
people
rate.
or?
No, we do tours with one person. So we always run the tour regardless. One person, the max we can have is 10. Yeah. And we do private bookings.
We
as
say
well.
max.
Yeah, we say 10. Well, max was 8. And then for you guys, I'm like, okay, we're stretching to 12.
But our group does know each other, because I know that it could be a little trickier if you've got like these 2 people over here, you got a couple singles, and then you've got a family of 5, and then you're trying to all squeeze into a shop, and then these people are maybe not feeling comfortable enough to excuse me, talk to each other. It can get a bit weird, I know, but our group does know each other, so
that's why it's easier. Normally I have a maximum of 8 people. And that's because of this reason, is because the dynamics, if it's any more than that, it's really hard to manage. Some people really enjoying one shop in particular, like the trainer shop. We have a sneaker shop, and all of the trainers are made within 70 kilometers of Porto city center. You can't get a more locally made shoe than this. And they're kind of super, super cool. And guys love it. Like if there's a husband, a dad, like someone on the tour who's like just going, like a token person just to be there, they then spend ages in there, and then you've got to manage. Okay, I know you're enjoying yourself, but we need to move.
We got to move on.
We got to move on. And that's probably worth noting, because I often get asked, is the tour just for females, for women? It's not. Every single shop has items for both. So it just attracts women, because I think women are naturally more into they're into shopping, they're into artisanal things. But guys come on the tour and they love it. Like they really enjoy the quality of the products are amazing, especially like the men's shirts. I've bought stuff for my husband and I end up stealing it from him because they're so comfy and cozy. And these products made in Portugal is such a symbol of quality, like high quality and craftsmanship, and it will last you a very long time. Like I have things that I bought when I first moved here and I still wear it like nearly every day.
Okay. What are some of the price ranges then of the items? Like, you know, what's the lowest price thing someone could get, and then like how high does it go?
Well, I mean, lowest price range is like €10, I would say. We visit
like a pair of earrings, or
no, I'd say the jewelry is more on the higher notes.
Oh, okay.
The lowest price range, let's say €10-18, which are like trinkets of cork. And when I say cork, I don't mean those touristic cork shops where most of the cork comes from China. It doesn't even come from Portugal. We're talking real authentic Portuguese cork that is harvested here, respected, and made. The whole supply chain is here. So like these pieces have not even left Portugal yet. And this cork shop designs so many different home design products, but also you can get little tiny products. So the other day I bought like a cork dice where you can put your pens in for your office. It was really clever design, and that was €12. And that would make a great gift. Then we have socks that have the tile facades. They're around €18 per sock, and he always gives us a discount because you come from the tour. And if you buy multiple, then probably more discount. So you get looked after well.
Good.
And then the highest price range can be like €250 for a jacket. But this is one of the products I've had for 6 years. I've invested €250 in a high quality jacket, and I know that it's good. So there's a huge difference in price range.
Sure.
There's something for everybody, but I would say more on the higher scale, because these are all artisanal products. They're made by hand. They support someone's dream. They're not mass produced in a factory. So that's kind of what you're paying for. I often say, we should question, why is fast fashion so cheap, rather than why is artisanal products so expensive?
So expensive. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some audience members that are screaming at me. I can feel it. They want to know why. How do you know if it's Chinese cork versus Portuguese cork?
That's a fantastic question. So traditional Portuguese cork. Okay, well, Chinese cork, for example, they harvest cork there as well. The difference in quality is always different because it depends on the different climates, the different, where it's grown. Like even here in the north of Portugal, we have cork trees, but they won't be harvested to use that cork because the quality is not as good as down in like Alentejo. Yeah, where everything is flat. But traditional cork, like it won't. So for instance, you could put a hot pan on a cork coaster. It won't burn. And it won't get hot. Whereas like the fake cork, let's say, that's put with plastic, low quality, it will burn. Also, we had a woman on the tour the other week, and she showed a photo of a pair of shoes. These were designer product. I think she spent hundreds on these shoes, and it had like a cork heel or something. And she showed the guy in the cork shop, and he was like, "Yeah, that cork." Sorry, I'm not allowed to swear. And it just completely snapped and broken because the cork was so brittle and not strong enough that she wore them once and it just snapped. And and to be honest, like Carlos and Alzira, they're the cork designers. This is their area of expertise. They can tell you the science. They can tell you where this thing most likely would be grown because of its quality. Like if they're more intrigued about this, they know their stuff, then these are the experts that tell you this on the tour.
Nice. Okay, Jade, at Expats Everywhere, we believe that living abroad transforms lives. How has living abroad transformed your life?
Dramatically. I'm a whole different person to what I was when I first moved here. I feel like for the first time in my life, I feel so content. I feel really happy. I feel at peace. I feel like I'm living a dream. I've been living here for a long time, and I still pinch myself and say, just yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I live here. My mum is here visiting with her friends, and they were like, this place is amazing. And I'm like, I know, it really is. It's amazing in its beauty and its buildings and its food and its wine, but mostly in its people and how open-hearted they are. And I feel like I found my people. So I feel very, very content. And I think that's the biggest game changer of all, to feel happy.
Totally agree. Jade, thank you so much for sharing with Expats Everywhere today.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.